All right. LinkedIn. You either love it or hate it. Regardless of personal preference, there's no denying the potential this powerhouse platform has to offer small businesses. According to the annual Digital Trust Report by Business Insider Intelligence, LinkedIn was the most trusted social media platform for 5 years running, up until 2022 when Pinterest took the top spot. And we can all figure out why. Like, where were we? We were all at home. We were not actually going and actively networking and having LinkedIn at the top of our minds. But the report states that people feel that LinkedIn is the place that shows the least amount of fake news and spammy content. It's the platform where we feel the safest to share, post, and comment, and where we feel our personal data is most secure. LinkedIn is now 20 years old, which is no mean feat in terms of social media staying power. And while you might think LinkedIn is the boomer dad of social platforms, it's safe to say you could be missing out on creating genuine connections with potential clients if you're not considering it in your social media mix. So if you've been wondering if LinkedIn is the right platform for your service-based business, stick around. Joining us today to explore this platform's possibilities and pitfalls is personal branding coach, social media trainer, and LinkedIn expert Ella Orr from Much More Social. And you really want to stick around because she has an exclusive offer for anyone who listens through the entire interview. You just have to catch the secret password. Ella is based in the UK and works with business owners and individuals from corporate on how to become known, remembered, and preferred by their ideal clients. Before retraining in social media marketing in 2017, Ella was a teacher for many, many years. Her experiences and learnings from her previous teaching career have given her a wealth of transferable skills, which she uses in her work with her clients now. She runs individual and group training as well as consultancy on personal branding, social media strategy, and content creation. LinkedIn is her go-to platform, but she is active on other main social media spaces, including Instagram and Threads, as well as TikTok, where she first came across the Mad Marketing Mums podcast. Ella,
Thank-
welcome to the
I am
madhouse.
so happy to have entered the madhouse, Clem.
I feel like Guns N' Roses' Welcome to the Jungle should be playing in the
Sounds good.
background. I've got flamethrowers coming out on each side too. Thank you so much for coming along, Ella. So tell us why LinkedIn is your go-to platform. What is it about it that gives you all those massive heart eyes?
Well, the thing is, it's the place where I've had the best conversations, I have to say. Though having met you on TikTok, Clem, I'm getting into the sort of conversation on TikTok. But yeah, place I've had the best conversations. I've made really good friends, and when I say friends, people who I talk to in the DMs, people who I then go and meet in person if they're here in the UK. But some people, when they come over to the UK, make a beeline for going to meet their LinkedIn friends. Can you believe it? It's incredible. It's the place where I've learned the most about marketing, not just social media. It's a great place to get news updates. And I think you get the thing that's changed LinkedIn, obviously, since COVID or what happened over COVID, was that people were sharing a lot more human stories, human interest topics. It's not just about marketing and sales and business. It's about us speaking to each other as human beings. And that's why I really rate it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that Business Insider report does not lie. How I feel the absolute safest on that platform. Like even TikTok, yeah, it's a great community and everything, but there's always a degree of, I think, a little bit of vigilance. Whereas on LinkedIn, I feel
Yeah.
completely
Yeah.
safe on it. I And the connections that I do make on there are absolutely genuine. Besides the spammy comments in the DMs, but the
Yeah.
connections that you really deliberately make and you start to
Yeah.
comment back and forth are
Yeah.
genuine
Definitely.
all the time. So what do you find is then the biggest misunderstanding that people have about LinkedIn that kind of just
Yeah.
turns them off? There's so many of them, but there's got to be like one that just
I
in the
was
face.
going to say something, but I'm going to say something else first. It's not just for old
Do it,
people.
do it.
That's the thing. The thing that really struck me in your
Yeah,
introduction was about the boomers comment.
I have a reason for
Oh,
that
do
comment.
do share
I'm
more. Do share
serious.
more.
So it was some I was saying to I was in a workshop or something and I said to them like LinkedIn, it's great, but a lot of people don't take it seriously because all the features that people love, say about video creating, are only getting on to LinkedIn now. And so someone was just like, it's like a boomer dad. It's just so late to the party and to the joke. It finally
Oh
gets it
yeah,
after three
yeah,
years of
yeah, yeah. I
thinking
agree with
about the
that. Agree
joke.
with that totally.
Yes. That's why I said it's the boomer dad of
Yeah,
social. It's the oldest, and it
one.
gets the
Yeah, yeah,
features that you
yeah.
really
And
want
then, oh god,
last.
this is. We can talk about this later. But then the features that you really like, it thinks
Hmm.
it might take them away from you. This is the thing. This is what they're constantly testing and
Yes.
saying. Oh, we from stats that we've gathered, audience from the research that we've done, and audience feedback and everything else. We're taking away that little video that comes to life on your profile photo. I
Mm.
mean, they took that away just out of the blue three months ago. I think it was about three. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And they took away at the same time, what is it,
Yes.
links? The link
Yeah.
sticker that they had on
Yeah.
photos and video, which I
Yeah.
used that so
Yes.
much. I was like,
Yeah.
yes, link
Yeah.
sticker, really. And I must have been the only
Yeah.
one on LinkedIn using it, but I may have been the only one that knew about
Yeah.
it as well because they're terrible at this, which is like
Yeah,
a
exactly, exactly. But to go back to your question about the biggest misunderstanding, I think it has to
mm,
be that as soon as someone connects with you, that they're going to buy from you. As soon this is what I get, people connecting with
mm,
me and then immediately they're shoving their product under my nose, not just in the feed.
yeah.
It's not that would be bad enough constantly doing that. And there's nothing wrong with selling on LinkedIn, but it's the fact they make a connection with you. They don't bother to get to know you, and immediately they're saying, "Oh, would you be interested in looking at this or being added to this list or whatever?" And I go, "No, is that the reason you only connected?" I've started saying to these people, Clem, "Is that the only reason you've connected with me? Because if that's the case, that's the end of our connection."
Yeah, I actually asked them at the beginning when they request to connect. I'm like, is if this is a first sales pitch, I'm not interested. If you actually want to learn a thing or
Yeah,
two from each other, then yes,
yeah,
I am. They don't
yeah.
answer most of the time, but yeah. Okay, that's interesting because I would have thought that you would have
Oh.
said something else, but you said you were going to say something else. So what is that
Well,
other
I think that there's
misunderstanding then?
another misunderstanding is certainly, and it's a thing that kind of really
Mm,
peeves people off, is the I'm making 6 or 7
mm.
figures and I'm absolutely crushing it. Oh, for goodness sake, get real.
So would you, I guess you would say LinkedIn, it's the whole snake oil sales and all that stuff, just
No.
it just doesn't survive on LinkedIn. And that's maybe the misunderstanding that people get is that you can just slap that kind of on there
The
and
thing is,
anyone's
the
going to
sad
believe.
thing is that it does work for some people, and I spend most. It's so
Mm,
sad. I am really geeky. I do spend most of my kind of online life on LinkedIn. But the people that I have conversations with, we are
hmm
constantly talking about this, not just on LinkedIn, but when we also meet in person. Because I went to a conference last week in Leicester here in the UK, and there were a table of us that are all real serious LinkedIn users, and we were all saying, what is it with these
mm.
people who post every day? Every day is some motivational, get out there and kick ass post, and they've got tons of followers. So there must be some attraction to these people. But the thing is, in order to, and I'm going to bring up this word, which I know a lot of people hate, authenticity, that's not me. I can't do that.
Mm. Oh
That's not
God,
me. So if I tried to,
no,
even if, yeah.
that's
So anyway,
that's one of the words that gives us the ick factor here is authenticity or being authentic. I would say also like those people that do put those motivational posts up have got to be
yeah,
getting help somewhere in
yeah,
form of a
yeah,
pod or
yeah.
whatnot. But yeah. Anyway, I think that's tangent number 12 in this 15-minute recording of the Mad Marketing Moms episode. So let's start from the beginning. I like to tell people, and Krishla, if she were here, Krishla has actually lost her voice, so she's not able to make it tonight, but she had a laugh when we were coming up with these questions. And I said to her, when I'm doing a LinkedIn workshop with someone, I like to tell them that we're going to take their profile from Danny DeVito and turn it into Henry Cavill.
Oh,
Like, you want to have your LinkedIn profile just as sexy as any other profile that you have on any platform. What are the absolute must-haves that someone should have on a platform, and what do people most often forget?
obviously, because we're trying to connect human to human, I would say put a decent photograph of
Mm.
yourself as a profile photo, an up to date photo, not one that you took 10 years ago, 15 years ago, because you think that you look more attractive and younger then and everything else. People want to see the real you. And I know there are reasons why people hide their profile photo, and that's perfectly understandable. But if you haven't got any real reason to hide your profile photo, make it public. So that's one thing I would say. A nice kind of smiling, approachable photo. We're supposed to be making friends with people here, not staring them down and looking mean and everything else, even though that might be part of your branding to be like that. Make it you. And the other thing I'll say is a scroll stopping headline really does help. And LinkedIn is offering lots of sort of tools and whatever to try, the AI tools and whatever to try and improve your headline. But so many people I still see defaulting to that LinkedIn default of the first line of your experience. Whatever you've got in your title as your first line of experience is going to be
Mm.
automatically defaulted as your headline. And people just don't bother to change it. And I would think, why? Why do they do? And you've got
Is the
220.
headline also searchable in
Sorry,
LinkedIn as
carry
well?
on. Sorry, there's a little bit of a lag, Clem.
I, yeah. So I was saying, the headline is searchable
Exactly.
in
And
LinkedIn as
that's why
well.
keywords really, really matter. So it's not just the keywords about your job, about what you do. So, like in my case, it's social media is one of the keywords, but also personal branding, but also the fact that I work with a lot of corporate clients. So it'll be people in regulated professions, that kind of thing. So think about the keywords that you want to be found for and make sure they're in the headline. But the headline has got to run smoothly. You don't want it to be, it's got, it, I always say to people that first bit that you see, what they call like above the fold, that's your shop window. So make sure that you've got the profile
Mm.
photo, your banner and your headline, that they all connect with each other. People can see the relationship. So even if your banner is maybe a picture of where your home city or wherever it is, if you've got something about that then in your headline, you work with Australian based businesses or whatever, because that might be your audience, then make sure the whole thing connects up. But the other thing I was going to mention is contact info. People are not very good. Again, we are inherently lazy, aren't we, human beings? So what we'll do is we'll just do what LinkedIn will give us.
Yes, we are.
And it gives us terrible options in terms of contact info. So make sure that you are tailoring the contact info to the best way for people to contact you. And that has got, in my view, away from LinkedIn. So make sure that you've got a landing page, and you can put 2 or 3 different options of
Hmm.
ways for people to contact you. So it could be a landing page, it could be a website, it could be a Calendly link or a calendar link of some sorts. Just getting those bits and pieces will show that you care about your LinkedIn profile.
Okay, so profile photo,
Yeah.
headline,
Yeah, I was
contact
going to say those three.
information.
Yeah. Yeah.
Three absolute must-haves. Yep. To turn your profile from Danny DeVito
Oh, yeah.
to somewhat Henry Cavill.
Not that we're dissing Danny. We're not dissing Danny.
No, sometimes we do things that are short and not so great looking, but
Oh, dear.
I digress. Oh, this is going to be an entertaining episode to edit.
Oh.
So, are those three also the things that people most often forget about? Is that contact information? Is that what you meant by like the
Yeah, I
absolute
think
bare
people forget
minimum?
about the contact information. So many people know that
Mm,
their headline needs to improve, and that's what they say to me. Like, oh, well, my headline, I
mm,
can't. And it does take a lot of thought. Of course, it does to make a snappy headline. And I think a lot of people, and I know I've been through this, a lot of people struggle with a headline when they've transitioned from one career to another career, which of course a lot of us do as we get older.
mm-hmm,
And you want to let people know that you've had all those skills from your previous however many careers before. But the problem is, if that you're including that in
mm,
your headline, then you're going to still keep getting content around that old job and career potential is, because that's what's being picked up
Mhm.
by the LinkedIn bots. They're picking up that those keywords. So you really want
Mm.
to try to keep all of that kind of information more in your about section and your experience section, and keep more of who you are now or what you are aiming to be if you're transitioning, you're training for a new career. Keep that in your headline, so that because I get a lot, especially as me as an
Mm.
ex-teacher, I get a lot of teachers saying to me, "Oh, I don't want to see education content, even though I want to tell people I used to be a teacher." Just keep that out of the headline then. The reason I've got it in is because I deliver
Yeah, okay.
training. So I think it shows a
Mm.
synergy between the transferable skills I've got from teaching and training.
Yep. So as a side question, I sometimes see, say, I think for mine, I have a little bit of combination of keyword type thing or things I want to be known for, as well as, one line of how I help people. If the headline is searchable and you want to be found for that stuff, but then you also want particular content related to your industry, then you almost are better off doing on keyword line like some people do. And by that, I mean for our listeners, podcast host, social media strategist,
Yeah,
marketing coach,
yeah,
where you have them in lines, you're better off doing that if you want particular hyper
content. Yeah,
targeted content in
yeah,
your feed.
yeah. And just to mention, are you talking about that pipeline thing that
Yeah.
people often use in their headline? I don't know if I should. I'm going to mention this, Clem, just because the way that I was trained,
Yeah.
that apparently, because of the, I'm not very that computer savvy, technologically savvy, but when some readers,
That's
when they
okay.
read that pipeline, when they read that pipeline, they read it as a letter.
Hmm.
So it's better to, if you want to separate those different things out, it's better to use an emoji. That's what I was going to
Okay.
mention. Or you could use a full stop. But by using the pipe symbol, which I see a lot of people using,
Yep.
understandably, because it looks good. There's, just to
Mm.
mention, it might be worth you considering putting a full stop in there instead, or just, splitting each of those up with a relevant emoji. A lot of people use like the green tick or a star or something like that.
Ah, okay. Okay, that's good to know. Good to know. Okay, so moving on to different page types as well. This is probably like one of the number one questions that you get asked, and I get asked the same thing. Company page versus a personal profile,
It's
which
still
one
got
is
to be the
actually
personal
better?
profile. It has to be, because the thing is that even though LinkedIn is giving more visibility to company pages, it's giving more features to company pages and so forth, especially with the kind of clients that probably we're likely to be working with, one person operations or really like small businesses. The company pages are much more appropriate for if you've got over a certain number of employees who are then going to use the company page for, say, employee advocacy. They're going to share content from the company page through their personal profile. So if you're a solopreneur, you're an owner operator, whatever it is you want to call yourself, it really matters that you put the effort into your personal profile. And let's face it, people aren't going to spend as much time on LinkedIn as I do. And so it's half an hour a week, you've got to concentrate. I would concentrate the effort on your personal profile. But I've seen people do this. What they do is
Mm.
they have the personal profile and then they write a company page about section in the third person. And I just think, why have you done that?
I was waiting. I was wondering when the about summary was going to come out in the interview, and the fact that people put it in third
No,
person sometimes.
no, don't do that.
Please don't.
And you'll see plenty of people doing it. You'll see plenty of people who are in top jobs doing it. They're not, they don't need to worry about building connections, human to human connections, which is what you're trying to do, what we're trying to use LinkedIn for. We're
Mm.
trying to use LinkedIn to have conversations with, people in the DMs and then take them off the platform. We're not working with our corporate hat on all the time, so just don't do it. Yeah,
So personal profile is best.
yeah.
Do not talk in the third person because Ella and I probably probably will go to you and be like, honey, you need to work on that about summary first and foremost. So we're stepping back into our sigma of LinkedIn being a
Oh
boomer
yeah.
dad and all the stereotypes that people give it. So there's this huge stigma with LinkedIn as well that it is exclusively for corporate B2B and you need a huge budget in order to even function on it. Now, mind you, in saying that, you do need a decent sized budget if you're going to be doing LinkedIn ads because they are
Yeah,
expensive compared
yeah,
to Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Like I'm talking 10, 15 times more expensive per click or whatever you're trying to
yeah.
achieve. Well, what are some cost-effective or even free tactics, and I say free, quote unquote, because it does cost your time, that you would recommend to grow a business's brand on LinkedIn?
It was really interesting when you prepared this question for me because I was thinking it's got to be comment. It really has to be. People don't comment enough on LinkedIn. It's so, they get so hung up
Yeah,
about the posting.
I knew it because your posts keep coming up on LinkedIn and you talk about this. You talk about this, how comments are just so
Yeah,
powerful.
yeah.
Hence why I made that question. Just I made it for you, Ella. I made
Ah,
it for you.
fabulous. But yeah, yeah, and honestly, it is. And people listening to this, just remember this: it is the gateway to visibility. It really is. There's three things that you need to focus on, and this is the
Mm,
order you need to focus on them. Get your profile sorted out because you want that to be the most shit hot landing page when people go to your profile. But then you go and comment and comment and comment. And then when they see these comments from whoever it is, and you've got that amazing headline, they're going to go and look at your profile. Then, you can start to think about posting. If people are being paralyzed by posting, then, you can get over that paralysis so easily by commenting. And the more you comment, you'll find that
mm,
you're more used to the way the LinkedIn feed works and the different types of posts there are out there. And there are so many different ways
mm.
that people post on LinkedIn. That's one of the reasons why I love it.
And the thing with comments as well, it's not just the fact that you're commenting and you're directly networking with the poster or some commenter. It's also the fact that when you comment, your connections will see in their feed that you have commented. So LinkedIn is going, you are connected to this person, you find them valuable. Hey, you actually might find their thoughts on this
Yeah.
particular post to be valuable too.
Yeah.
What do you think? And they almost invite you to comment. So you're already showing your expertise without even posting anything on your own feed, just by commenting. No other
Yeah.
platform does that as well.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it. That's it. That's what I really love about it. The whole kind of, as soon as, so if Clem, you were to come and comment on my post, then your followers will see that you commented on my post. And if people are, they're interested in you because they're connected to you as first
Mm,
degree connections. So oh, what's this woman Ella that Clem's commenting on? What's so interesting about her? And then that's how the network grows. It really is clever. It's
mm.
very clever.
It's yeah, they're handing you conversation starters on a silver platter, essentially. It's LinkedIn's number one thing is they live on engagement. I think it was Dan Roth when he was the head of product at LinkedIn. I heard him on
Yeah,
Clubhouse, one of the platforms we'll never hear about ever again, Clubhouse. I heard him on there saying that LinkedIn's algorithm is just engagement. It is the whole driving force behind that algorithm is just engagement. It's not about who you know, it's not about watch time, it's not about this. It's
yeah,
the people engaging on your posts. The only way that people are going to see you is if you engage. Doesn't matter
yeah.
if you post, is if you engage. That's the bare minimum. So I 100% agree with what you said. Is there any other cost-effective things behind besides comments and that you would want?
The other thing I was going to say, I've got them actually written down here, is the commenting really matters, but also it's what you were alluding to there, Clem, about the fact that you've got to get out of the echo chamber. So go and find people who think about the people that you want to have conversations with, who you want to collaborate with, who you share genuine interests with, but not just people who you're thinking that person's going to buy my product because they're my buyer persona or they're my target client or whatever. You've got to think about LinkedIn being like a networking event, an online networking event. And when we go to networking, not everyone in the
Mm,
room is going to be, we walk into the room and we think, who am I going to be interested in talking to here? You work the room and you find that the first two or three conversations don't really work, but then you then find a conversation where you're actually interested. But that doesn't necessarily mean to say that conversation is being directed by people who you're going to buy, or you're going to sell to. It could be some completely random topic they're talking about, but it's just something that's a conversation that you can get involved in. And that's exactly the same on LinkedIn. So do a little bit of homework in terms of thinking, who is it that I want to be in my sort of second degree network? Because if you think about your first degree connections, yes, they're likely to be people who you've met at an event, or you've met through another platform, or you've listened to their podcast and gone and said, oh, or you've read their blog, or whatever it is. But then you, as I say, you really think, who could those people connect me with? That's why it takes a little
Mm.
bit of thinking. And I think the problem is that a lot of people go on LinkedIn and because it's like, oh my God, I'm here, I'm going to randomly comment on a few posts. And then they say that they're commenting. If those comments aren't actually landing, it could be that you're commenting on the wrong posts. That's the thing. And also take comment. The other thing I was going to say as well is take comment into once you've got into comment threads and you feel like you are getting to know people a lot more. That's when you then can start to think about building up your connections. So that one of the things that obviously you can do is make sure that when you connect with people, you always send a personal message to say why it is you wanted to connect. So that's when you talk about a way that you can build your
Mm.
network through really quality first messages to your people that you want to connect with, and even have a kind of messaging strategy. You need a strategy for all these things. You need a posting strategy, you need a commenting strategy, and you need a messaging strategy. That's what I'm going to say at the minute.
No, those are all fantastic tips.
Yeah.
So we know to say TikTok is where short form video really loves to hang. YouTube is big time in long form video. Instagram, who knows, they're going through their 20th midlife crisis for the year. What type of content is working best on LinkedIn right now?
I love it. Get all these platforms on the therapist's couch. Let's go.
Yeah. This is what happens. This is what happens when you leave the podcast to Clem by herself after a couple of wines, Krishna.
Yeah, what's working best on LinkedIn?
Uh,
I know it sounds nuts, but honestly, text only posts still are the number one. Yeah, but it's
is this for
no,
you or
just
for
no,
like even your
across the board,
clients?
across the board. But the people who do these text only posts have got
Okay.
the people who are really good at text only posts have got a formula that they work to in terms of, just like your
Mm.
hook on TikTok, you need a hook on your LinkedIn post. You got to find that hook. It's
Yeah,
universal.
hooks are universal.
And also the layout of your post as well.
Is is there anyone in particular that you think just makes a killer text only post that people could check out and just
I'm going to
learn from?
mention him. I was going to try and avoid mentioning him because he's the guy who's taught me pretty much everything about LinkedIn. But John Aspirian is the guy who I've learned like
Hmm.
90% of what I know about LinkedIn from John. And I value him as an authority. The other person I was going to mention is Kevin D. Turner. If people don't know Kevin D. Turner, both
Hmm.
Kevin and John do really deep dive research into what works on LinkedIn. They're the real stats people. They're the analytics people, and both of them post majority text only posts. The other thing that works though
Yeah.
is those document posts, which we think of as carousels on
Mm.
Instagram, and some people call them carousels on LinkedIn. But they actually, if you're trying to find where to post that, when you go to do your post, it's called add a document. So it's a document post, but it's the side swipe. And
Mm.
again, that's dwell time on that post. I would definitely
Yeah.
say those as well, that document post. Video, it's again, that's the content that needs to get on the therapist couch for LinkedIn as well. Because honestly, It's
It's the
having an
one having the
identity
identity
crisis.
crisis. It's not
Yeah,
Instagram, it's just
you
video on
know,
LinkedIn.
and I feel so sorry for video content creators on LinkedIn, Clem, because honestly, they're working their little backsides off to try and get people to create video content. They want to work B2B. They're trying to talk to corporates. They're trying to say to these big money maker, you should be making video. But then when it's dying a death on LinkedIn, what's the incentive?
Yeah. I hate to say it, like, I don't think maybe this is the whole boomer dad thing of LinkedIn. It's very hard to adopt something new when you are so used to having
Yeah,
one particular set of something. It's like those boomer dads that will always go and buy the same
yeah,
sneaker over and over again. It's
yeah,
because it works and it is the one sneaker that has always fit, so I'm going to
yeah,
always buy those sneakers.
yeah.
So I think it's just I
It's
think people are just not used to
it's the Marks and
change.
Spencers
And
of social media. Do
yeah.
you know Marks and Spencer?
Now back,
The department store in the
yes, the
UK
department
that
store, right?
everybody goes to buy
Yes.
their underwear.
Oh God. I'll keep that in mind if I'm ever in the UK to go to Marks and Spencer to buy my undies. Is that
Yes!
seriously what
But I
they
tell you,
do?
they've got amazing underwear.
Okay. I'm gonna put that on my bucket list. It's like my husband, he had go and visit a Walmart on his bucket list for the US because it's an amazing thing. Like we don't have like we've got something like Walmart here in Australia, but it's nothing compared to it.
Touch them.
Anyway, that's tangent number 54. Anyway, so LinkedIn analytics. LinkedIn analytics is one thing I'm a fan of and I'm not a fan of because it's very, very basic, which is what I like, but at the same time it's almost too basic compared to other platforms in like how you can easily deep dive into the information that's available. What would be the best way that people could leverage the basic analytics that we
Again, it comes back to engagement. I would definitely say look at your posts that are
Mm,
getting the most engagement. So forget the impression, forget the number of views and everything else. Look at the amount of comments that are being generated by your post. Look at the level of engagement because that is what's going to be. If you think about what your objective is on being on LinkedIn, it's to generate conversations so that you get new connections. And then that's hopefully, going to get, going to convert, you're going to get conversions, conversations, connections, conversions. And all of that can only come about with conversations that are generated through the post. So it's definitely got to be about the engagement, in my view. And you can see that now. The thing now,
yeah,
now,
and
yeah.
that's
I was going to mention
it is a
about
very good
creator
view.
mode. I was going to mention about creator mode, Clem, because you get if you're a bit. A
Mhm,
lot of people are a bit reticent about going on to creator mode because it goes to follow first on creator mode. But you do get some slightly enhanced
mhm.
analytics with creator mode. So if you are more interested in seeing about how much engagement there has been on your posts, then and maybe some kind of demographics in terms of who your posts are landing with as well, in terms of people who viewed it, the people who clicked on it, go and look at change to creator mode, and then you get some sort of like deeper analytics within creator mode.
Now, to change into creator mode for anyone who doesn't know how to do that, pretty much go on your LinkedIn profile, and I think you can only
Yeah,
do this on
yeah, I think you
desktop,
can. I'm
is that
sorry, I'm just
right? Or
checking
can
my
you do
phone.
it on the
Yeah,
mobile app? Yeah, no, that's all right. And I think it's you scroll maybe halfway down your profile, and there'll be a box just on the most basic information of your profile.
yeah,
And the first, I think it's like resources, and the first thing on there is creator mode.
yeah,
Now, yeah, and with creator mode, it changes your profile so someone doesn't just immediately connect with you. They follow you
yes,
first, and then they have to
yes,
go through two extra clicks to
yeah,
connect with you.
yeah. That's
Now,
right.
my argument is then creator mode actually works really, really well if you don't want those spammy connections because someone who follows you and then also goes through the effort of connecting with you and especially goes through the effort of doing a personal
Yeah,
message, they are really keen
yeah,
to be in touch with you because they think you're the bee's knees in what you do.
Yeah,
So that to me is already like one telltale sign. I don't even have to read someone's message usually if they want to connect with me, if I can see that they have followed. And you'll get it in one notification too. It's
yeah,
like they followed and they want to connect.
yeah. And just to mention that you can do it on your
Okay, there was
phone,
a
I've just
lag there, so I
noticed.
wasn't sure if you were going to say
So
something else.
as you scroll
Yeah.
down, you've got resources underneath your
Okay.
you've got the resources underneath your top card. So if you go and look where you've got your headline, your
Hmm.
connection, your contact info, underneath that it says resources. You can click on creator mode there as well, I think. On mobile, sorry.
So would you say to someone who's new, yeah, that's okay. So would you say someone who's new to LinkedIn, because we might have quite a few people that have an aversion to LinkedIn and want to try it, they should just go and turn creator mode on?
I would What I would do, because of that follow first pathway, if you're new to LinkedIn, you want to try and get as many
Hmm.
connections as possible. I would still it so that you get beyond those 500 connections, because once you get those beyond those 500 connections, LinkedIn isn't going to show the number of connections that you've got to the rest of the public, to the rest of the world that comes and looks at LinkedIn. It will just
Hmm.
say this connection has got over 500 connections. So it gives you a little bit more credibility, a little bit more authority on the platform. So I would say if you're new to LinkedIn, just stay away from creator mode to begin with, because you want to remove that friction of people having to do follow and then connect, but make sure that people who are asking to connect with you are reasonable people. You don't When I first went on LinkedIn, I was thinking, oh, isn't it brilliant? People want to connect with me. But then I was getting all this, I have friends, and
I
I
have
was getting
friends
all this
on
crap
LinkedIn.
in my
Yeah,
feed.
yeah.
Still be
Mm.
wary about who it is that you want to connect with. Don't fall into the echo chamber of just connecting with anyone who you've met in person, or your friends or friends of friends or whatever, because that isn't going to be helpful either. That's a bit like always just asking your friends and family to buy from you. But you do want to, so
Mm.
this is what, like, having a little bit of a think about, who is it that I want to build my network around? Who is it that I want to have conversations with? Who is it that are going to help me? That's why coming and connecting with a few people, maybe like me, who's got a little bit of a bigger network, could be helpful. And I invite anyone who's listening to this podcast, Clem, to come and connect with me. If you tell me that you listened to Clem and Krishna's podcast, I will connect with you. I'll be happy to connect with you, because I know, obviously, we're friends,
Mm.
online friends. We're building our networks. We're helping each other. So if you want to come to our party, then I'm happy to, for you to come to my party, because you're coming to Clem and Krishna's party as well.
And yeah, and I 100%, if you want to connect with me as well and just tell me that you've listened to the podcast, I would immediately connect with you and I would end up being like your biggest fan for sure.
But yeah, no, I just wanted to mention
Yeah.
about it's
So
important to get beyond
we're
that
gonna whip
first
out that.
500 connections.
Yeah, okay. All right. That's good to know.
Yeah.
So we're gonna whip out that crystal ball now. What are some trends that on LinkedIn that you think that we should keep an eye on?
Just like everything in life, AI is having its influence on LinkedIn. Keep an eye out for the well, at the moment, one of the very big things that LinkedIn is really proud of are these collaborative articles. So if you're recognized as an expert in something,
Ugh.
so I'm apparently an expert in personal branding. I specialize in personal branding, but I have been invited to comment on a number of
I
personal
did see that
branding
badge on your
posts.
LinkedIn profile too. Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
and I got a badge because I not post articles, because I added my thoughts to these collaborative articles. LinkedIn rewarded me with a badge. I know.
It's a
I'd
gold
rather have had
star.
a free month of premium, but hey,
So you make a good point though as well with the whole AI. So ChatGPT,
yeah,
Microsoft has invested $10 billion into ChatGPT. And who owns LinkedIn?
Microsoft.
Microsoft. So I think it's a no-brainer that we're going to see ChatGPT implemented into LinkedIn somewhere.
Yeah.
There's no way that LinkedIn is not going to jump on the ChatGPT and AI bandwagon. No
No,
way.
no, it's definitely testing a lot of tools. Obviously, a lot of them
Mm,
are first tested in the US. No, we're not seeing them here in the UK. And if we're not seeing them here in the UK, Clem, I understand that you won't see them in Australia for months.
but
Yeah,
years. I still, like, and it's with any social media platform. I still can't view profiles on my TikTok account, yet every other TikTok account that I have access to can. And LinkedIn, don't even, I got that link sticker and it went away in like months. And I'm like, I used it. There's no tomorrow. Why? This is like the one thing that this was like Christmas and my birthday put together, and you guys are taking it away.
yeah. So just be aware of that. They're doing a lot of testing of taking away features that they've given to people. One of the recent conversations that's been doing the rounds on LinkedIn amongst us who deliver training is about they're testing at the moment about whether or not they're going to carry on using hashtags. So some people have had their
Mm.
ability to add hashtags taken away from adding to their posts. Yeah, because they're testing to see
Really?
what difference it makes. It's things like that.
And so for anyone who's just yeah, so anyone who's not familiar with hashtags on LinkedIn, they work a bit differently than they do, say, on Instagram and TikTok, where it's not based on the number of posts, the hashtag is based on the
Followers.
number of
Yeah.
followers. So if you want to become an expert in a particular niche, you want to nail down your hashtags
Yeah,
big time
definitely.
on LinkedIn
Definitely.
for now. So, obviously you would recommend hashtags for, say, educational, thought
Yeah,
leadership type posts, that sort of
at
thing
this
for
point,
sure, then
because
at this
they're not
point.
they're LinkedIn are experimenting with taking them away, but lots of people are still
Mm.
seeing them and are still using them. So I would definitely nail down the hashtags that you want to do your LinkedIn research through to then go and find posts that you can comment on, and also posts that you can then use as inspiration for your own thought leadership and everything else, just like we've always traditionally done on LinkedIn. I've got a
Mm.
hashtag, my own personal hashtag, which is Ella Explainer, which I use across all of my platforms, but I use it a lot on LinkedIn. So that's a way for people to find my content. And I also always follow the personal branding hashtags because I want to know what other people in my space are saying about personal branding so I can go and comment and add my two penneth. So yeah,
Mm.
definitely use the hashtag still. They were also experimenting, can you believe this, Clem, with taking away the location feature. They did that for yeah, so
There was a location
on your
feature?
LinkedIn profile, you've got your location. Have you never noticed this, Clem?
Oh, no, I thought you meant on
No,
actual
no,
posts
no,
themselves. You know how
no,
on
no,
Instagram you can
no.
put on a post a
On the
location?
profile.
Okay, okay, okay. I did notice that. I've
Well, it
never
caused a
paid
bit of a
attention to
hoo-ha
it.
because if you don't know where
Right.
if you
See,
don't know
the
where
news that
someone's
we get.
located,
No, that's a good
you don't know
point.
where
Yeah.
someone's located, and you're trying to build up your business in especially in Australia where you've got very distinct areas, haven't you?
Yeah.
You're a lot more sprawled out than we are here in the
Mm,
UK. It's going to be really important that you
mm.
whereabouts, which part of the country people are in. So, yeah. So
Yeah,
they
for
took that
sure.
away,
Yeah,
but they've brought
right.
it back again now.
Yeah, okay.
So just be aware of all of that. I talk about a lot of this stuff on my TikTok, Claire. That's why if you want to come and follow me and find out the latest that's going on LinkedIn, go to TikTok.
That was going to be my next question. Well, to wrap this up, where should people follow you, and do you want to give away the password now and talk about the offer for listeners?
Yeah. So if you want to come and follow me, then obviously I'm very very happy to connect with people on LinkedIn. Please do come and let me know that you listen to the podcast because then I'll know where you came from. But I urge you to come and connect with me because I know some really bloody amazing people on LinkedIn. I'm telling you, if you have got any doubts about LinkedIn, about whether or not it's the platform for you, and you're sick of seeing spammy content, boring content, that contentious, toxic content, and everything else, I can introduce you to people who are nice people who have decent human conversations and are also very clever. So if you want to learn something about LinkedIn, I can introduce you to those people. But other than that, you can find me on TikTok because my whole TikTok account is pretty much dedicated to me talking about LinkedIn. LinkedIn in its
Mm.
simplest
You,
form.
yeah, and your TikTok's absolutely amazing. It's nice little bite-sized things that you get. You learn so much from the minute-long videos, the short videos that you do. I think you're
Thank
doing
you.
absolutely
I
excellent
appreciate that.
on your TikTok profile.
Thank you.
Definitely worth giving you a follow. Thank you so much, Ella, for coming on. We have got a couple of quick fire questions for you. We're getting into the fun bit now. Not that this episode wasn't entertaining whatsoever on the 11 billion tangents that we went on in the mere 57 minutes. So to start off this quick fire, what's the top tip for busy parents in
Well,
business?
I am a parent. I'm a parent of an older child now, but obviously my child was young at one time. And I will definitely say to you, allocate time in your calendar for marketing. This will be music to Clem's ears. Unless you actually put
Mm-hmm,
that time down on your calendar and say, I'm going to spend 1 hour a week working on this, and you've got set tasks that you're going to do during that time, or if you prefer to do like half a day every couple of weeks or whatever it is. But if you don't put it down on the calendar, you're not going to do it, and then it won't
mm-hmm.
become a habit. Your marketing has to become a habit. That's my advice.
Yep. And it's, don't think of it as I have to do this and this. If it's like just you allocate some time and you want to just go and update your profile, that is one element of marketing there. Don't
Yeah.
think you have to do everything all at once. Allocate a little bit of time to do those comments and stuff for LinkedIn for sure. Links in the comments or the captions. Now, in context for anyone who has no idea what I'm talking about, there is this debate that has been going on forever on LinkedIn. There is people say, no, put any links, or LinkedIn is going to demote any posts that have a link in it. So put
Yeah.
your link in the comments. Don't put it in the caption. So the question I've given to Ella is, you put it in the comments or do you put it in the caption?
Oh God, can I say 50-50? Because sometimes you do want to put it in the caption. If
You know, my favorite answer to everything is it depends.
Yeah, yeah. Because the thing is, it will get lost in the
Mm.
comments. If you've put this amazing post that's
Hmm.
generated loads of comments, then and then you've said, "Oh, the link is in the comments," or the link to that conversation is in the comments, or that blog or that podcast episode is in the comments, then it's going to get lost. So I would say, just put it in the captions. Just put it in your post. In
Mm.
your post.
Now, yeah, I would say it wouldn't get lost in the comments. If LinkedIn decided not to remove the
Exactly.
feature of pinning
That's another
comments
thing that
top
they
of a
got rid of.
post. Yeah. So Dan Roth, if you are listening to this episode, can you go have a talking to whoever's the head of product now and tell them to put back the pinned comments
Yeah.
and the link sticker
Can
on
I
video
can I just
photos?
add,
Thank you.
actually though, if that thing that you're talking about, that link really does matter to you, rather than putting the link in the main body of the post, put it in your featured section.
Hmm.
That's what I would do. Put it in your featured
Oh
section, because your
yeah.
featured section is like your highlights.
If it is uber, yeah, if it is uber important, put it in your highlights. I think I've got on mine, I've got my TikTok profile was one of them because I'm uber proud of that. The next,
Yeah.
and the other one is like the podcast. It's the stuff that you
Yeah.
really want
So just
people
say
to
go
check
to my
out
feed just say go
for
to my
sure.
featured section.
You only,
Yeah.
yeah, and you only get the featured section on creator mode as well.
Yes. Yes. I think so.
Yes.
I might need to check that, but
Yeah.
we'll double check.
So
We'll
we'll
double
double
check
check
it.
and we'll
Yeah.
put it in the show notes as a confirmation. Yeah. So we know that you're an anti-ageism advocate. What would you say to people who claim that they are too old for social?
Oh, it's a load of rubbish that you're too old for it. Honestly, I found some of my best friends on social media. End of. That's the thing. I found some of my best friends. And also, it's a really great source of information if you know where to go and look. That's the other thing. So I would
Yeah.
say we are moving into a
Yeah.
time where, yeah, I'll say I'm of the older generation. I'm 58. I'm still like reasonably digitally savvy, and everybody who is coming after me, like you, Clem, and all, the younger generation after that and everything, we're all moving with the times with this technology. We all need to use it in some kind of way, and obviously others will be using it more. But yeah, you're not too old if you really wanna broaden your mind.
100%. So we've also seen you're a bit of a gym junkie. What is that? I love your gym content. What is that fitness milestone that you
Oh,
are
I love
most
this
proud of?
question because I'm going to tell you, it's every time I finish a session with my PT. That is a milestone.
Every time
I
I made
survived.
it, I
She's absolutely
survived.
brilliant. She's been my PT for coming up for 6 years. We are brilliant friends, and she is the most incredible PT stroke teacher. Every time she pushes me that little bit more or whatever, I just think, oh, yes, I did it.
She didn't kill me this time.
I'm going to show her this bit in the podcast. Yeah, so there you go.
Ella, thank you so much for coming on. It has been an absolute honor and
Not at
pleasure
all. Can I
speaking
mention my
with
little
you.
offer?
Yes, please, before we forget to give the password to everyone, what is your offer?
No, I did mention to Clem that I'd got an offer. It's been a long
It has been a long day.
I forget. Obviously, it's the end of the day with you. I'm just getting started here in the UK. So yeah, the offer is that I've got an offer called the Ella Explainer. If you go and check out my website, you'll be able to see it. But if you connect with me on LinkedIn, if you're not already connected, or if you are connected with me, just come and tell me Ella Mum 20, Ella Mum 20, and I will give you a substantial discounted offer on my Ella Explainer. It's got something to do with the 20.
Oh. If you've made it this far through our 11 billion tangents in the course of 1 hour, 4 minutes of recording, and you caught that password, please do take advantage of it. But again, thank you
Not
so
at
much,
all. I've
Ella.
really enjoyed it, Clem, and I've loved meeting you. And I hope we're going to continue this wonderful friendship now. And I'd love to meet Krishna sometime as well.
You better be damn sure that this friendship is only just getting started, Ella.
Brilliant. Thank you.